Welcome to the football show here on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. It is Tuesday. Tam Cowan is alongside myself, Peter Martin and Alan Ruff. Great to have your company. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. There's lots to talk about. The World Cup semi-finals. We'll be talking about Alistair Johnson. We'll be hearing from Lee Johnson. We'll be also discussing Dr. Stephen Davis. Kilmarnock have got plans for a new training centre. The SPFL Scottish Premiership is back at the weekend. There's Thursday, Rangers against Hibs, and just a competition or two to throw in there for good measure. One of them, of course, is still with your chance to enter right now. It's absolutely free to play, our Fandex World Cup competition.
You can still join PLZ Soccer on Fandex for our FIFA World Cup 2022 Stock Exchange game. You can play at any stage of the tournament for free, and you have the chance to win cash prizes. Buy shares in your favourite team and watch their stock price increase or decrease based on their real-life World Cup performances against the expected points tally set by Fandex. You can buy and sell as many teams as you like, as often as you like, with winners being announced after every round. The PLZ Soccer family are waiting for you on Fandex. Head to plzsoccer.com and click on Fandex World Cup 2022.
Yeah, good luck with that. It's proved to be really popular. We'll give you details before we finish the programme tonight. Also, what about the quiz? Here's a good question for you. Who was the first player to score an own goal in a World Cup final? There's a belter, Ruffy.
How far back we got? How far?
I'm telling you, the first player to score an own goal in a World Cup final. I'll give you the answer at the end of the programme.
Was he Scottish?
He wasn't Scottish. I think
that's a great question.
Yeah, I think we might have been the first country to have two players run into each other in a World Cup final. And also, when I think about that, why didn't you take out Shingalia? If you took out Shingalia, you'd have been sent off and we might have beat Russia.
I know. Might not even have been sent off back in that era.
No, exactly. You could have got a yellow for it, Ruffy.
Yeah. Dived at his legs and pulled him down.
Yeah, pull him down, he stopped him scoring.
I didn't recognise Adam there, by the way, with him sniffing about 3 or 4 older women.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fresh for the Christmas party.
That's a
chaser that he is.
Yeah, he is a single guy. So he is. He can't mark him with a blowtorch, Ruffy. His confidence is sky high there now.
Yeah, he proved that at the weekend there. Very impressed with him. Very impressed.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to say, have you been grooming him, but that could have been taken a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. I never thought we'd get into Adam's love life in the opening 2 minutes of the programme. Interestingly enough, talking of Adam, he was at Celtic Park late last night for the first of 2 signings that Ange Postecoglou has announced.
Thanks, Peter. I'm outside of a very foggy and a very frosty Celtic Park as I was speaking to new Celtic right-back Alistair Johnson. The Canadian international has joined the club on a 5-year deal from CF Montreal. He was very good at the World Cup for Canada. In the group stages, they faced up against Croatia, where he played new Celtic teammate Josip Juranovic. There has been some rumours suggesting that Johnson was brought in to replace Juranovic, who looks to be on his way out of the club. But Johnson kindly told us a little story about their first exchange together.
No, I did actually talk to him a little bit after, just said hello, and he was really good about coming out of his way to make sure he came and found me even after a big 4-1 win for them. He's a great player. I thought he was one of the best players on the pitch, and he's been showing that all World Cup. So, let's hope that Croatia can keep doing what they're doing and potentially lift the World Cup at this point.
From new teammates to old ones, Alistair Johnson used to play with Victor Wanyama over in Canada, and he sought out some advice from the former Celtic hero before moving here, and Wanyama was full of praise for his former club.
Celtic probably came up about 2 months ago, I'd say, and it's funny because at that point, still at Montreal, and Victor Wanyama, I brought it up to him just kind of low-key, hey, there might be some interest from Celtic. What are your thoughts on that? And he said, look, he's played some massive clubs, some Premier League teams as well, and he said there's nothing quite like Celtic. Everywhere he goes, it's hail, and still this day when he's back over here, he gets recognized most of the time, not for being a Spurs player, but for playing for Celtic. So he said, look, it's the fans, it's unbelievable. Just the size, the stature of the club, how well known it is all around the world. It's a place that you want to be, and he thought that it would be a great fit for me. So when I heard that glowing recommendation, it was my heart and my mind were pretty set on Celtic.
Well, Peter, it certainly is an interesting one. joining the club. Johnson is now Celtic's third international right back alongside Josip Juranovic and Anthony Ralston. And surely this means that Juranovic is out the door. Could he leave after the World Cup? We'll see him play against Argentina in the semi-final of the World Cup tonight. If he plays anything like he did in the quarters, then that will be another few million added onto his price tag. So tell me what you think. Do you think Juranovic is away? Will Johnson come straight in? Is he ahead of Ralston in the pecking order?
Yeah, I'm so glad, Ruffy, that we managed to get these new Grieve sports jackets for the trips. Yes. Because they look warm, they are warm, and that has really served him well yesterday.
Yeah, it certainly is. You need it in this time of the year, you know, in the football and that. And they actually wear them in here as well, you know, through the back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cheryl's got hers on every day.
Well, I can tell you, we have the third quiz of the programme today already. What am I, multiple choice, what garment will we call it, do you think that I'm wearing? Write the note to help me keep on. Am I wearing a thermal vest? Am I wearing long johns? Or am I wearing a novelty willy warmer?
Okay, I think we're going for long johns.
I've got my long johns on today.
Yeah,
I've been wearing them a lot recently.
Thank God for that. And
first come out the cupboard.
are you and Frankie Howard carry on?
No, it's Christmas. They first come out the packet. I got them in Marks and Spencer's years ago when I was Motherwell had to play Inverurie Locos in the Cup. Mark McGee's first time in charge, and it was absolutely Baltic. And somebody said to me, long johns, and I just think about Mulled Pop wearing them, you know, and they maybe weren't in the best nick, you know, but I thought nobody sees them, get them under and your roasty toasty. Great.
Absolutely. I like Marlon's message to us on the feed. He says PLZ and Adidas sponsorship deal, you kept that one quiet, Peter. Publish the figures. So it's listen, anything to keep us warm, Ruffy. It's as simple as that. And I don't know why you're saying that nobody really knows whether you're wearing long johns or not, because obviously everybody knew up at Dens Park when Ruffy wore the all-in-one and had to take the whole thing down while he was standing at the urinal, which was not the most pleasant of sights. Although
that new camouflage suit you got for going to Partick Thistle games, I like that.
So,
by the way, what can we just say? Because we're talking off air, I applaud that young man, Alistair Johnson. First up, he looks like the cheeriest wee fullback seen at Celtic since Frimpong.
Yep.
Remember, he was a guy that never had a smile off his face.
Yep.
And you can understand why. He's, that's just great. A 5-year deal at a club like Celtic, right? You can have a guess at the sort of money he's on, and you think, that wee fella there, no one he's happy, just set up for life.
Well, not only that, but the question that Adam posed there, Ruffy, is a good one. It's just quite simply, is it Juranovic on his way for a figure that reflects his performance in the World Cup, or do they keep him, the two of them battling it out, or maybe one of them plays in a different position that we haven't yet seen?
No, I think he's already, Ange has already said he wants two players for every position. I think you've got to cash in. We keep talking about cashing in when the time's right. If there is a bid there for Juranovic, they've got to take it. They've got to take it. They can't do what other teams are doing. Say, let's wait a year. Let's wait his contract's ran down a wee bit, and you get nothing.
Plus, was Ange I think he was quite honest about that a while back. Yeah. He said about the model at Celtic, they bring players on, they can sell them, and that's the way it's going to happen because they need the money coming in, because two players for every position does seem a hell of a luxury.
Yeah, the other thing about it as well, which is amazing, is he probably didn't realise, and quite a lot of people don't realise, if you join Celtic or Rangers, that minute when your name's linked with it, suddenly he says his phone crashed. Because, they're all on following him on Twitter, they're following him across social media just to make sure they get a piece of him. Yeah, it'd be great. But no, well done to the boy. 5-year deal, absolutely super. We'll need to talk in January.
He never said that half of the calls he got were for Rangers supporters after he'd said that he joined the biggest club in the world.
I think we were looking at him there, not only a wee cheery face, but quite a remarkable, a striking face. And I'll tell you, and it may be possible one of these days the way the world is going, but if Neil Lennon and Stevie Hamill ever have a kid, I think that's what he's going to look like.
Well, we're going to see. I think he had an impressive World Cup. And even if we did sit down to talk about a 5-year deal for yourself, it might conflict with the other dinners that you go to at Christmas, because you've just been rattling them in. There must be a few more.
I really enjoy it. I must say, first and foremost...
Will you not phone Richard Gordon and get one for the Aberdeen contingent?
The wee North East one, it's kind of really annoying you that somebody for the North East in Aberdeen has left the BBC, or is going part-time, because you used to think that everybody at the BBC supported Aberdeen. I don't know quite where you get that from, but it's just as many Motherwell fans these days, to be honest with you.
Yeah, go on then.
Well, you've got myself, you've got in the online department, you've got Scott Mullen, who you know.
Yes.
Big Motherwell
Scott's
fan.
a good lad.
You've got on air, she's on all the time now, of course, Leanne Crichton, who's not only now a Motherwell fan, I'm assuming she's a fan because she's certainly a Motherwell player.
We'll leave that one in a technicality.
Jane Lewis.
Is she a Motherwell fan?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But I must say as well, allow me to get a wee bit of praise in here. The PLZ Christmas night was quite superb, beautifully arranged with great food, and then of course a brilliant game to watch as well. Then I had the BBC night in the legendary Griffin Bar in Glasgow, which is reopened, and it's
was good.
fine for them. It was a buffet because, and we paid money for it as well, because licence fee payers.
Absolutely.
Not one of these snazzy commercial outfits that buy their staff new winter coats and all that. But that was tremendous. And then yesterday we have a wee biannual lunch. It's all my pals that are on the board at Motherwell, right? Guys that I grew up with, season ticket holders, which I'm very, very happy about. So we have a wee biannual lunch. We have one at Christmas and we've one at the end of the season. And I think in Mark McGee's final year in charge, the two of them were at the same time.
Yeah, all right.
If you know what I'm saying.
And I have to say, well done to Alan Burrows, because when you wore the top last week, he was very complimentary towards PLZ, because it was a nice touch, you wearing that.
Flying out the door, Peter.
Yeah, no wonder. It's a great initiative from Motherwell. But then again, it is one of those clubs that just seems to get everything right with regards to the relationship with the fans, the appropriate thing to do and the right thing to do in difficult times. And I think it's one of those clubs that a lot of people could take a leaf out of their book anyway. As people actually come in the door at Celtic, some people will obviously go out. There's talk of Scott Robertson, maybe one of the younger players heading out to join up with Scott Brown. There's that sort of speculation. One man who did leave in the summer was Tom Rogic. I was wondering if he'd made the right move to West Brom, but he came on and scored for them and changed the game for them as a sub. So clearly it's starting to kick for him, because he just disappeared.
Yeah, he took so long to decide what he was going to do, and a lot of people were confused why he'd left it so long. Obviously wanted to go to the right team, and certainly we know what he can do. He's got so much ability. Some of the goals he's scored in the SPFL have been fantastic. So I think they'll get a turn from him. There's no doubt about that. I think he's a lovely, good player to watch. He's one of these players. That goal he scored at Dundee United would just sums him up. He's just fantastic.
Maybe not a 90-minute player.
No, he's always had that against him, particularly in the European nights, But there's a lot of players like that, that seems to be the way things are going. Look at Maeda. He knows he's going on the part and he's not going the last 90 minutes, and he's just going to be taken off. And I think a lot of managers see some players like that.
I wouldn't put Rogic in the same way.
No, he doesn't charge a bit.
With all due respect.
I'll tell you what, that maybe sums up how well Celtic have done this season, and certainly domestically, of course. I'd completely forgotten about Rogic. Yeah. So it's like you don't kind of miss him because they're still motoring, that you think, Rogic, I had to almost form a mental image of him there to remember who he was. So,
and I just
what did Celtic get from him? Was that a transfer one?
No, I think he went for. I think he'd gone a free. I think that was him at the end of the contract. I must say, congratulations to a player that I really admire. I really like him as a midfielder, Stephen Davis, Doctor. Stephen Davis, MBE. He's been awarded an honorary doctorate at Queen's University in Belfast. He's the most capped British player of all time, and I think that's a nice, great honour for him. I feel as proud as punch.
Oh, absolutely. In any situation like that, and we've got a gentleman sitting across from us, and Alan's first thoughts might have been that if he'd have gone a wee bit earlier, and I'm sure your mum and dad could have basked in the joy and the honour of that, because that seems to be what a lot of these guys say. It's a great honour for the entire family.
And if you had followed the same pathway as Stephen Davis, he could have been Dr. Alan Ruff. He could have been the doctor of Mary Hill.
We'll leave that one there, Peter.
No, but it's good. He's good. He's got that. You know, I was listening to an interview before we came in. There's a lot of there's a lot of GPs
with sore throats.
Yeah, exactly.
But it'll be interesting to see where he sets up his practice.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway,
You wouldn't need any practice.
so that brings us nicely to Rangers against Hibs. As Tam said, we're all looking forward to getting back into it. I think Michael Beale, early stages, nice win against Leverkusen, gets a wee flavour of what's there, what he has at his disposal. He's obviously given a few of the youngsters a little bit of a run out against Leverkusen. They got a good win. Maybe you're looking at shipping out a couple of players that might not be part of his plans. There's speculation that Yilmaz could be on his way, but quite simply, it's the first one back. It's Rangers against Hibs. It's a great game. If anything, there's two angles to this one. One, Michael Beale at home, place going to be bouncing. The opposition under a wee bit of pressure on Lee Johnson.
Yeah, there hasn't been any form at all at Hibs, and I think they'd be wishing the game was at Easter Road rather than Ibrox, because I thought they maybe had a wee chance there. I think Ibrox will be absolutely bursting on Thursday night. Everybody will be there, it'll be full. They'll all want to see his team selection, who's going to get a chance to come in, is he going to play with one striker, two strikers, and I can only see one win on this one. I just think everything's going well just now on the park. Off the park's been dealt with. It's gone, it's out the window, nobody's bothering about that anymore. So it's not a pressure game, but it's a game they need to win.
Yeah.
He needs to win it. He needs to start off by winning a game, because
is that not pressure?
It is pressure, but I mean, if he doesn't get the 3 points and then Celtic go on and get 3 points at Aberdeen, it's going to be a long season.
Yeah. You know what? It's just for a start. I'm at times never the best neutral, but this is one of those fixtures. You think if you go back a couple of generations, you think the game that you were involved in, Souness having a wee fly kick at George McCluskey, absolute bedlam. You move it on a number of years, you think Ivan Sproul going to Ibrox with Hibs and scoring a hat-trick. You move it on again, you think of that one at Easter Road that finished, was it 5 each? When Neil, there's always something about this fixture that whets the appetite, and I think it's beautifully poised for some real drama, because Michael Beale has got to get off to a flyer, right? We'd already spoken about how all the Rangers fans were saying he was the brains behind the partnership with him and Gerrard. So he knows the club, he knows the players, he's the guy with the brains. He's got to get off to a flyer, and you've already got, to be fair, I think the most outspoken recently in terms of what you'd call the Rangers pundits, who will still say that Rangers have got a chance. Neil McCann the other day, he had looked at the fixtures and basically saying, right, well, if Rangers win the next 3 and then they get into the game against Celtic and da-da-da. So they've got to get after a flyer for that to make any sense whatsoever. There's no use Rangers on Thursday night dropping 2, dropping 3 points. But what Ruffy never mentioned there, there's pressure on Michael Beale, but the pressure on Lee Johnson now is extraordinary. And I think particularly since he made the slight faux pas of coming out and talking about how he reckons, the difference between Rangers and Celtic now, basically he doesn't think Rangers could lay a glove on Celtic, blah, blah, blah. And Hibs fans, you're expecting that for that, it would have been Rangers fans that would have flamed him.
Yeah.
Hibs fans were at the front of the queue, because they were saying, wait a minute, stop talking about other teams and all the rest of it. I think they've lost 10 out of 11.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So Hibs, honestly, it's beautifully poised.
Well, he's got that dilemma, because they're 8th in the table, 1 point off the top 6, and then you look at their defeats. They've had 6 wins, 2 draws, 8 defeats, Ruffy, and the form of late has been absolutely woeful. I think it's 6 defeats in the last 7, so he's under real pressure. Nisbet McGeady could be back, but if you want to hear from Lee Johnson, well, we sent our man Adam Binney through to Tranent on a snowboard.
Thanks, Peter. I'm outside of the Hibernian Training Centre for this afternoon's press conference with Lee Johnson ahead of Hibernian's clash with Rangers in the Scottish Premiership on Thursday. It's the first game back after the World Cup break. Everyone's looking forward to it, but the big news dominating the headlines for Hibs is the fact that, of course, Ryan Porteous will not be signing a new contract. He may leave for free at the end of the season, may go for a fee in January. There has been some rumours that he could be joining Rangers, so I asked Lee Johnson if he thinks that Porteous is good enough to play for one of the old firm. Here's what he told me.
Well, I like Ryan as a player. I think he's good enough to stay at Hibs, and who knows, I think that maybe it might just turn, and depending on the offers that he does get, or that we get, I still live in hope that eventually he'll come to his senses.
Naturally, all this speculation is thought to have maybe tampered with the head of Ryan Porteous, but Lee Johnson assured us that his central defender has not been distracted by the transfer news.
Yeah, I'm 100% confident in that, that's for sure. I've maintained a really good personal relationship with Ryan over this period of time, and that's because there's a respect for how he is in training, a respect for his personality, a respect for his will to win, and we're in a situation that really, like, we can't control. We can only control to the best of our ability, and I would never put a player out on the pitch that I didn't feel was committed to Hibs, and that won't change.
Well, he's a professional. Ryan Porteous will do his best. I don't think he wanted to be grilled on whether Porteous was good enough to play for Celtic and Rangers, but I think he knows he's on his way. Whether it be in a pre-contract, somebody might give him the money in January, or away in the summer.
Yeah, and the very fact he is such a good player, time is a great healer. If he went to Rangers, for example, there was obviously this wonderful panto-style goody-baddy relationship between him and the Rangers fans for a spell, but the guy showed what he could do when he was drafted in for Scotland, and he was absolutely immense. And if he screws the nut, then he's clearly got a great career in front of him. But but again, that'll be Hibs fans accusing Lee Johnson of talking about Rangers and Celtic again, rather than just putting the focus on Hibs.
Yeah, well, I'm going to talk about both of them because I think Rangers will win 3-1, Tom.
Do you?
You?
Right. I've got a funny feeling, Scottish football being Scottish football, you can have a laugh about me this after the event if you want. I've got a feeling Hibs are going to go there and sneak a 1-0 win.
Okay.
You're going to laugh now, aren't you?
No, anything's possible in football.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to go Rangers to win 2-0.
2-0.
2-0.
Okay, it's all about opinions. You can give us your opinion on that.
And incidentally, if I change my mind when I forget we've got the predictor to start up again, you know,
yes.
And I don't want to be hit with the bill again this year. So
I was going to say to you,
I might change my opinion in the interim period between now.
That's called
sending in my results.
It's called the Ruffy law, where you say one thing somewhere and then change it. Big DJ used to be good at that, by the way, because he used to predict something in the evening times, then he'd do the prediction in the Rangers news, and then he'd save one for Super Scoreboard. It was magnificent, and sometimes they all met in the middle, but not very often. Okay, lots of other clubs itching to get back. We'll talk about Killie and their new training centre proposal. Also, talking about new proposals, Aberdeen, I think Dave Cormack has come out and said that they've got this multi-million-pound stadium that they want to obviously redevelop in the beachfront in the city. This is what he had to say on the funding of it. We're willing to work with the council and whoever is there with the council. They approached the football club about what they thought the club could do for the city by staying in the city centre. It is ludicrous that people think the club's looking for a handout. Why would we build an 80 million or 90 million pound community stadium when we could build a stadium at Kingsford for 50 million? If we can bring, as a club, 38 million people to the stadium, which is almost double what is there at the moment. I think he means 38,000, roughly, on that level.
38 million,
I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, I'm reading that and thinking,
I think that's just a wee typo.
Yeah, it's a typo. It's 38,000 over the next 50 years because it is a community stadium and we can generate at least 1 billion of economic upside for the city, not for the club. It is a compelling case, yes.
Yeah, but I've got to say, is it meaning 38 million over the 50 years? Would that maybe work out?
Could have been.
Right, I've got to say I'm not.
I should I should have read it that way, but he's bringing 38 million. I thought he was bringing 38 million to the stadium, and I thought, come on, give his piece. 38 million pounds, roughly. But listen, the be all and end all of this is Dave Cormack wants help from the council to build it.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that when the previous people were in power, they were quite happy to go along with him, but it changed hands to another party, and they're not as happy to give him the money that he thought he was going to get. So he'll have to sit tight and come to some kind of deal. I think he's thrown out there that there has been a 400 million project being passed for a civic centre, and he has the football and that in sort of like level terms. If you're going to back that, you need to back the stadium, for the people of the town. Well,
I think Aberdeen as a whole, especially that area in the beachfront, it's a fabulous area. It could be really well developed.
Oh, absolutely. And again, as everybody keeps saying, it's been bitterly disappointing when you look at Aberdeen in recent years. The fact they're okay. I know we've got Cove Rangers in the city of Aberdeen as well, but they are the big club. They do have that great support. A lot of whom, Gothenburg and trophies and stuff like that are becoming a distant memory now. They really need to have a go and, maybe, I don't know, naming rights, maybe Shell, BP, something like that for the new stadium, bring in a bit of the oil industry money and really give Rangers and Celtic a run for their money. Because it's who you're looking to. It starts every season, Peter, right? Yeah, here we go, okay, Rangers, Celtic, what one's going to be, It is primarily, I would say, Aberdeen that you're looking for to upset the apple cart, and then you jump down to Hearts and Hibs, and you look at Hibs now, but Aberdeen need to be the club that you're looking to break the duopoly that's been now for 37 years.
Yeah, well, Jim Goodwin told the club's AGM that he hasn't earned top marks just yet, but there is more to come. I certainly hope they do get their act together. They've won 8 of 15 games, losing 6, drawing 1 under Jim Goodwin. There's signs of a spark, and then all of a sudden it stutters every now and then.
Well, fortunately for him, it's at home. The spark's been at home. You're keeping your home fans, happy. They know that you've got a good record there. But he'll know he needs to pick up some points away from home. The target is obviously getting back into Europe, and to do that, you have to win your away games as well. But certainly, I think they're doing okay. I think they will be, I would say, 3rd, 4th or 5th. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, absolutely. Gregor is a regular who contributes to the feed here, big Aberdeen fan, hates me, likes all you guys, just waits for the moment, so he's on this case right away. And on the site here, I should have read this bit, Ruffy, I must admit, it's quite difficult to try and keep all 38 plates spinning, but Dave Cormack says, if we bring, as a club, 38 million people to the stadium, which is almost double what it is at Pittodrie over the next 50 years, because it's a community stadium, we can generate at least $1 billion of economic upside for the city, and not for the club, for the city, and it's a compelling argument. So there you are. Gregor, you can wallow in it all you like.
Gregor know you're going up there.
I was going to say that.
You're a big man when you're sitting behind your laptop.
To be fair,
I need to meet him up in one of the hills outside Pittodrie. With all
due respect to you two don't know what an away ground looks like. I mean, I've been all over Scotland. I go to all the games in every stadium to try and cover games that don't involve Celtic and Rangers. So Aberdeen, I did mention about 6 weeks ago, Ruffy, on this show, you were there, I said Aberdeen is the only stadium I haven't been to this season, and I'm going to make a point of doing it. And what do? I picked the one game where it's Ice Station Zebra out there. That road is the road from hell.
Yeah.
And
you know what you hate,
I'm not looking forward to it.
I don't know what the prediction is latest for the snow, but you hate when you obviously know that Aberdeen under Soil Hill, the pitch will be fine. There's nothing worse than they say the game was put off because you like the surrounding area. They like maybe it was dangerous and all that, a bit of ice, a bit of snow or whatever. Yeah. That really annoys you when there's a pitch there, pristine condition, and all you want to do is go in and watch a game.
Yeah, but the surrounding area has to be safe for everybody to get there. I'm looking forward to it because obviously I really want to actually see the Fergie statue, and around it there's quite a few murals now. They've put a bit of work into it, Tam.
Aye. I enjoy that as well. I remember when I went to see when it had just been put up, it was the Billy McNeill statue was the most recent one at Celtic Park, and that walkway as you go in,
yes.
Yeah, I remember going to see that Celtic Motherwell game. That's one of the away games that I can get to, of course. the restrictions with the radio allow that. But yeah, I like that, seeing a bit of other clubs' heritage. You know, it's always good. Absolutely. And the one they've got, I'd like to see the one that's not a million miles from here, of course, but the one that they've done in Bellsill.
It's cracking.
In tribute to Big Billy, you know, it was great.
So Aberdeen against Celtic, looking forward to that one. Bit early for us to give predictions on it, but not for Tam. What do you think on that one? Aberdeen good at home.
I know. I think it'll be, I'll go in a festive spirit, plenty of goals, 4-2 to Celtic.
I thought he was going to be in the festive spirit and say a 2-2 draw.
No, plenty of goals.
All right, okay. Other things before we talk about the World Cup semi-finals, just a couple of things, Ruffy. Killie, proposal for a new training centre. This is at the consultation stage at the moment. Billy Bowie is certainly behind it. I think it'll be fantastic because 2 5-a-sides, 2 full-size pitches, one that has a 500-seater stand, which would be brilliant, alongside a 2-floor training facility building. You've got gym, you've got changing rooms, you've got canteen, seminar room, and the players' lounge. And I think with this as well, it would be fantastic for both the male team and the female side.
Yeah, Billy Bowie's been fantastic at the club. We've met him a couple of times. Really nice guy, you know, and he's really putting his money in there. You know, everything. Are these pitches going to be grass or astro?
Well, I hope he builds this training centre and then puts grass back in at Rugby Park. Do you not?
Yeah, I think the players and the manager would be, without going into the big detail of why shouldn't you and why don't you, you know. But I think now, with the big organisations talking about, really everybody must have grass.
Yes.
And I think further down the line it might be a stipulation that if you're in the big league you need to play with grass.
I would like to see that, Tam. You've got one of the best pitches in Scotland.
I know, and it just shows you what can be done with a wee bit of work, and I think Motherwell should be used as an example in that respect, because we obviously did once upon a time, not a million years ago, we arguably had the worst pitch in Scottish football.
Yeah.
It was absolutely atrocious, but then Paul and his talented team at Motherwell, they absolutely just put their craft into that playing surface, and it's phenomenal. They were even able to fix, you know, the legendary slope away out of the far corner flag. So, yeah, I think a lot of clubs should look at what Motherwell have done. And, you know, again, I think you should, you know, everybody loves naming a stand after players and all that. I think the David Turnbull pitch, there should be a wee plaque next to that, because, of course, when we get the money for Davy when he left it allowed us to spend money on things like that, you know, so it's wonderful now. I can't wait to see it on Saturday.
Just I was going to say, I know you're going to be there. Motherwell against St Mirren. What a nice wee little bit of spice in that one with Stevie
suddenly,
Robinson.
Well, it's suddenly you've got Stevie Robinson, you've got Keith Laszlo, who'll be up in the director's
with
box, presumably with St Mirren tie, you know. And you've got about, you know, the 43 Motherwell players that Stevie Robinson bought. There'll be at least, I'm guessing there must be, I'm trying to think of the ones that will be in show. You're I don't know, Tate, O'Hara, Trevor Carson in goals. I think in total signed maybe about 6 or 7 who he knew for his Motherwell days. But aye, so you get a wee bit of that. I always love when you get the reaction for the fans. So when I need to look at the young team, the well boys there in the corner, because for example, let's say Richard Tate was playing in the right back position and he's there near them. I think they'd give him a good reception.
Yeah, for a minute.
I think Trevor Carson as well, who was a great goalie, and then he'd all his health issues, really serious health issues. I think a wee bit of applause for the boys there. But then when you get into somebody like Mark O'Hara, who was that long, didn't make a great impact, so he's an easy one for the Bow Boys, you know.
I'll tell you who you will look forward to seeing there, Jonah.
I will look forward to. That's your game on Saturday.
Who you will look forward to seeing is Jonah Ayunga for St Mirren. Really good player up front.
Well, I'm not looking forward to seeing him. Then he might score. Right? What are you talking about?
Do you not see two teams in the park?
No, I do. But I know sometimes you're right. It's great when it's a situation like that. In fact, I was mentioning a boy recently, and I remember writing a call about him. I remember waxing lyrical about him on the radio. You know, he's had maybe a wee tough time with it recently, allegedly, but I remember when he came to Worth St Mirren at Twyford Park, a midweek game, absolutely terrorised us, and I dubbed him the mini Messi, and I was talking about Paul McGowan, because when Paul McGowan was in his pomp, what a brilliant wee player he was, you know. And I remember enjoying watching him that night. Can't even remember the score. He's all I remember for the game. But I'll still be hoping we get a result.
Yeah, there's another guy who I think will light up the pitch as well, Keanu Bacchus, on a high after playing for the Socceroos.
Yeah, and he's been quite upfront with everybody. He's no intentions of going anywhere. You know, he enjoyed the World Cup, and now he's enjoying back playing with his club. And I'm sure all the players will love listening to his stories in the dressing room about who he was playing against and all that stuff. So no, I think St Mirren going to that game quite positive.
And in the spirit of the World Cup, I'm hearing that there's Agnes McLafferty. She's a Motherwell fan, 68-year-old Motherwell fan for Craig Nuke. She says that she's going to wear one of the outfits like that Croatian woman. I just walked down the steps at Fir Park in the main stand, okay? Right. Just to keep the wee flavour of the World Cup.
Are you talking about the lady who...
The model.
Who all the sheikhs were looking at, taking photos of the two-faced gets, aye. I'm talking about. So Agnes, big Agnes, for Craig Nuke, she's 68. And met her at the bingo last week, but she's up for doing that on Saturday. Look out for it.
Can't wait for that. Can't wait for that, Robbie.
We get some photos.
I'll get some photos.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that. Lots of games to look forward to over the weekend. The only problem I have with it all is how many of them will survive the weather, because it's not just...
They all must have under soil, surely.
It might, but it's minus... I got up this morning on the school run, Robbie, it was -9.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know it's that bad, but you've got to look ahead. The groundsman will have looked at the forecast.
I mean, remember the days when you were a director? You would have consulted with the police. The police actually have to make sure the surrounding area is safe for fans.
Yeah, it is.
And that's under health and safety. If you get one fan outside the stadium at the turnstile, slips, breaks his leg, the club are going to be done. So they don't take any chances.
It's the police. It's the police that make that call.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we shall see how many of them actually survive. Before we start to talk about the semi-finals of the World Cup, Ruffy and I were at Grieve Sports in there. They've got some fantastic retro football shirts, which are all the rage. They're absolutely fantastic. Some of the tops from club football. I mean, that's a Boca Juniors top there, but some of the tops from our friends at Copa and Grieve Sports are absolutely superb. We've got 6 vouchers to give away, as Kerry reveals now.
PLZ Soccer has teamed up with our friends at Grieve Sports and Copa to offer you the fabulous chance to win one of these World Cup retro shirts if you enter our World Cup hat-trick competition. All you have to do is tell us who you think will win the World Cup, finish top goal scorer, and who will be declared player of the tournament. The person who gets all 3 correct will go into a draw to win one of 6 vouchers to choose their very own retro World Cup shirt from the Grieve Sports website. And if you don't get all 3 correct, then don't worry. You can still subscribe to our YouTube channel for a chance to win. To enter, simply submit your answers in the feed below, and if you want to double your chances of winning, then make sure you subscribe to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. The winner will be announced on the day of the World Cup final. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck with the competition there. If you had to pick one retro strip from all the World Cups of days gone by, Tam, is there one that sticks in your mind?
You know what, I'm really taken with the one that's just behind you there, Peter, the Argentina one. I think it's a cracker. It's a classic strip. Reminds you as well of the old Argentina choo-choos, the old sweeties, when they were all the rage, and really nice. And I agree with you, sometimes a lot of
He's never heard of an
Argentina choo-choos. They were wee individual sweeties, maybe probably back in the day they got at 2 for a penny, and they were like chewy, but they were the Argentina blue and white stripes in them.
But did you just get them in this area?
Was that the Fir Park shop?
No, they were in any kind of penny tray mix-up, kind of thing, Argentina choo-choos.
I've never heard of
Seriously?
that.
Right, I've done this before in the show where I think, am I getting off my head here, right? But the viewers are normally behind me. We'll get any of them to remind us, an Argentina choo-choo.
Well, I mean...
I'm assuming they came out, maybe they were launched at the time of the 78 World Cup.
Well,
or maybe they were out earlier and they got that name because when the 78 World Cup started they were the same colour.
Right, I was just thinking, were they the same size as the wee fruit salads and the blackjacks?
No, it was very wee hard boiling sweetie that you get the see-through wrapper on, you know.
Like
Cola Cube.
No, a cola cube.
Like a Murray's Mint or something.
Murray.
Do you remember them now?
No.
Honestly, forget football, forget World Cup semi-finals and all that guff. We need somebody sitting at home now to confirm to you Argentina choo-choos.
Yeah, well, it might be a while off. You and I are
still doing them in the sweet shops.
There is actually a couple of cracking shops, and I don't know where they are now. Where they
just sell sweeties.
There's one in the down at Garry and Bridge in Motherwell. You know the place where you buy flowers and all these things.
Oh, aye.
There's a classic sweetie shop
Right,
with
aye.
all the old, you know how they open the...
That's right. There's a great one up, Sweet Sensations, I think it's called, up in Oban.
Yeah.
Sells all the old stuff.
Old
They used
stuff.
to have a cracker, although I think that one's closing up in Aviemore. But there's a few closer to home. And of course, if you go to, is it Glancy's out in East End of Glasgow, near the Barras, they do all the old sweeties you can get in. You
In
want.
the big jar?
Aye.
Yeah, absolutely.
You confirmed that shit?
No, nobody, because nobody's... sorry, Tam, that's mince, says B. Blair. Humbug.
Blair will be about
Humbug,
12.
Ruffy. Humbug,
Humbug,
yeah.
remember them.
And Blackadder says, yes, the sweets are on Google.
Argentina Choo-Choos.
Argentina Choo-Choos.
Thank you very much.
So there you are. We'll have a look at them, Ruffy, and see if it just sparks a memory for us, but I have my doubts. Semi-finals. Now, let's look at it, because this one, I think, is almost certainly going to be not only Argentina against Croatia, but France against Morocco. But the Argentina-Croatia game, two special players on show. I've been so lucky to see both of them in the flesh and watch them in the middle of the park just produce passes that mere mortals couldn't see. Here's the head-to-head with Modric and Messi. It's just an unbelievable array of awards. 35 is Modric, 35 Messi, 37 Modric, and the goals, 706 for the club, 95 international. Modric not as prolific, 97 for his club, 23 for the internationals. 4 Champions Leagues for Messi, 5 for Modric, 10 La Liga, 3 La Liga for Modric, 7 Copa del Rey for Messi, and only 1 Copa del Rey for Modric. But look at that. Both of them runners-up, 2014, 2018. Modric got 1 Ballon d'Or. Tam, Messi, 7 Ballon d'Ors.
Yeah, and you know what? Another stat that you could have put up there, which would be very impressive from a Croatian perspective, is the population of the respective countries.
Yeah.
Because you always need to, that always gets whipped up, of course, with Scotland. The minute Croatia get into that semi-final, the point was made by several people, they've got a population of 4 million. What are we doing wrong? How come we can't lay a glove on nations at a World Cup? How come we can't qualify for a World Cup, you know? But I love watching the two of them. As you said, you were talking earlier about if, you know, can you enjoy watching a St Mirren player at Fir Park? Yep, as long as we get the win. But Modric, I enjoyed watching him in what was a flat European Championships for Scotland. He was the guy that just lit up that great goal he scored against us, of course, you know,
yes,
in front of a reduced crowd. So he's a joy to watch. Every man in their dug knows about Lionel Messi. So what I would like, ideally, Peter, because Christmas is coming up, my money was on Argentina 11-2 at the start. I would like Modric to have an absolutely brilliant game, but just to be sneaked out, and because it's an overall bet for the tournament, just to Croatia be nudged out after a 3-each draw and penalties.
Yeah,
that would be great.
Oof,
Everyone's a winner.
That would be some game. I mean, just 3.89 million in Croatia, 45.8 million in Argentina. So they've got a bigger pool. But the achievements of Croatia have been unbelievable, Ruffy.
Yeah, they have individually. They're fantastic skill, particularly as Tam said, Modric. We've seen him controlling a game from start to finish, you know, and he'll try and do that again. We spoke yesterday about Messi and Ronaldo, 2 different kind of players. These 2 are 2 different kind of players as well. Modric gets about the park, he comes back, brings other players into it. Messi just hangs about in the dangerous areas and just goes and does something.
An early goal.
I'm glad that Argentinian thing get cleared up that we were talking about yesterday. Remember the Argentinian players were noising up the Dutch after they scored.
Yeah.
Well, the reason they noised them up were when the Argentinian boys were taking the penalty kicks.
We mentioned that in yesterday's show.
Dutch, no, we never said the Dutch were going up and elbowing them and noising them up and putting them
Yes,
off.
we
Did. No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, you met Tam.
No,
you did the show about 4 years ago.
No, I don't have a problem with that. Now we were saying why would they do know
Your
that.
dinner soon. Custom tonight.
No again. No again.
Anyway, I think
I watched it.
I know, it's unbelievable.
The show.
But listen, Argentina to win.
I hope so.
Yeah. Am I being too sentimental? I want Messi to win the World Cup.
No, well, you're not being sentimental. That's the reason I bet them. Right,
Yeah.
I normally go for a long shot and an each way bet. Kind of ruining missed opportunity there with Morocco now, of course. But I think you just want. No, it'd be great. It's a perfect platform for two absolute geniuses on the pitch. I hope they both. You know, I'd love to see the both of them if they were doing the man-by-man markings tomorrow for them both of them to come out with a 10 and just provide loads of entertainment. But you do need, to get that entertainment, you're going to need an early goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get to Morocco, France, thank you to so many of you for posting your predictions, obviously reacting to some of the things we're talking about. Don't forget, you can hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, as so many people are doing. Thousands and thousands of people are doing that. There are, quite simply, so many, hundreds of thousands actually, just sucking up all the content that we've got and enjoying it as well. Breaking news, live action. Of course, our reporters are out there at the grounds, keeping up to date with the press conferences, and you know, more often than not, this show 99% of the time is live, 5 days a week from 4 o'clock till 5, and we've got one-to-ones and so much content for you to consume. So thank you to so many of you.
Should have done a pantomime.
We should
have done a pantomime.
Was there something else we were going to do, Ruffy? What was
Song, we're going to do a Christmas song.
it? What? Were we?
Yeah.
Your Christmas photos were good. The wee montage that you made, it was very good. Yeah.
But I think we should. Well, we've got a couple of really good competitions coming up as well, Ruffy, in the new year that I think people will really embrace. And of course, let's just hang fire on the predictor, because there's big news coming on that for everyone who enjoys the predictor. Yeah. So there's lots of that. And another thing about it is the podcast. People are downloading it and listening to it. And thank you to so many of you who actually consume the programme when you can. I mean, there's one here from Mark Vogan who says, "Evening guys, I love listening to the show each night on my nightly drive up and down the A9, which I have to say, he deserves a medal, Mark, because that average street camera thing is, I can understand
You
it.
get that,
It's a
and
joy.
then-
It's the right thing to do, but you know,
It's the right thing to do, but then of course at this time of year you've got the weather concerns up there. They were reporting from Carbridge, which is in your way up there, which always seems to be one, a bit like Braemar, one of these places that's always quoted as being the coldest in Scotland, the coldest in the country. So good on him, and it's good that he's only listening then, and that's it, because you don't want to be distracted by anything on that road.
No, and Niall Kane, who I think you know is a Motherwell fan, he listens to the programme and watches it when he can as well. Thank you, Niall, because I know that every time on your post he always says to everyone who's on the feed, why not hit the subscribe button and share the programme as well and tell your friends. So we really appreciate your support,
So
Niall.
what are the changes to the predictor?
Well, that's coming up. Yeah, that's coming up the new year.
You know what?
Big time, big
And a wee
time.
exclusive now that you're able to mention clearly the company you're doing a wee bit of a deal or two with, Grieve Sports.
Yeah.
The famous Grieve Sports. In fact, I'm now thinking, you know what, I wouldn't mind being bottom of the predictor again, because do you know the connection between Grieve Sports and the restaurant that I took you all to for my forfeit?
Go on.
One of the descendants of the Greaves Empire, Miller.
Yes. We met Miller the other week.
Miller, the
Yeah.
boy, is married to the lovely Jessica.
Of course.
And the lovely Jessica's dad is Mimo, who runs Bella Vita restaurant
Yes.
in the south side of Glasgow, where we went for our meal. So if I'm bottom this time, I'm thinking, come on, you must be able to wangle a wee deal.
Yeah, absolutely. What, a jacket for you and a meal?
A jacket, aye.
Well, big news
I
on
know
that
I'll
as
not be
well.
getting a jacket.
And by the way, Hoggy
Go
says,
on.
what?
You got me a jacket.
I wouldn't bile your head, by the way. I just took you all out for Christmas dinner. This is for the people who are actually out at the. Just out of curiosity, how many jackets have you had in the BBC for your 25 years? Have you had a gold watch yet for your 25 years?
No, that's a
Did you
point.
get anything from them?
For 25 years, we got
radio.
a curry and Ball beers in the West End of Glasgow.
There you are. But thank you to Hoggy. He says, no bother, Peter. I listen all the way from Jamaica.
Oh,
That's commitment
wow.
for you, by the way.
Jamaican up the A9.
Hey? No, Hoggy's in Jamaica,
guy.
which is one of those places where I think we'd need to stay with Hoggy if we went to Jamaica, by the way. It's not one of those places you can saunter about.
No, not this time of year with the snow and all that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Morocco, France. Looking forward to this one as well. If Morocco score first, I think we could be in for a shock, by the way. Didier Deschamps, well aware of what he's about to face with France.
It's very noisy, I can tell you that. My staff and myself have seen that, and we've told the players about that. That's part of the context. But that's not going to score you goals. But of course, it's something that we need to take into account, and it's great for them to have such loud support.
That's me in the mood for a spaghetti western.
It was a bit leave, wasn't it? Well, we had to dub it. It was dubbed over for us. So
right, who did the voice?
Well, one of the journalists who was at the actual press conference.
Right.
So there's no point in. I mean, Didier Deschamps and even Lloris, the goalkeeper and the captain. It's all speaking in French. You know, why should they pander to us?
The goalkeepers, am I right in saying, somebody told me this, but it was during one of our Christmas Day or nights out, so it's a wee bit hazy, that is there a top goalkeeper somewhere who foolishly went away skiing during this break and broke his leg?
No, I haven't heard of that.
A lot of folks said that.
Yeah.
I think it's a guy for the Premier League, English Premier League. So during this wee break, he clearly wasn't in World Cup duty, and rather than just kind of putting his feet up on the couch and watching the World Cup, he went skiing, broke his leg.
You
need to get somebody to try and confirm that.
Tell us
right?
that.
We never spoke about that yesterday, did we?
Well,
no, I don't remember.
No, I don't remember that either. But he was probably skiing while eating an Argentina choo-choo. To be honest with you, but if somebody will remind us of that, Tam, I certainly can't remember reading that. And I usually just spend the entire morning reading every newspaper. As far as the opposition are concerned, Morocco, what an achievement! First African nation to get to the semi-final stage, and their manager Walid Regragui says that's not enough.
Well, we want to try and get rid of that mentality that we perhaps had before. We've come into this tournament with great ambition, and we've come to change mindsets in our continent in particular, and that's what I've been telling my players. If we're happy just to reach the semi-final, and we just say that will be enough, then many people might agree. Many people might see that as a success, but I don't agree.
Yeah, he wants more. He wants a final place.
Absolutely.
He wants the World Cup, and why not? That's the mentality you want from your national manager. But I don't know if you know there, but the interpreter was able to pause at the right times as well there, Tam. That was good going.
He was getting better and better. But yeah, Morocco, they're not there just to be the wee kind of like novelty team, the wee cuddly toy now at the World Cup. They've gone by that. Folk knew, you rattled off the stats earlier, are aware of their record. They're absolutely no mugs. And again, they'll be thinking it, first and foremost, Mr. Mbappe, they'll be thinking, right, if we can keep him quiet, we've got a wee chance here. There's no doubt about that. And I think, it doesn't upset, I'm obviously cheering for Argentina. They're my overall bet. I think because the odds will be pretty tempting, I might have a wee couple of quid on Morocco in that one. Score. On Wednesday night. They'll sneak at 1-0.
Okay, I'm going France 3-1.
Do you know another thing I've noticed as well? The Moroccan support, they've got the knack of buying tickets at both ends of the stadiums.
Yeah,
they're behind every goal.
Do you think they're of Scottish descent?
No, I don't know. I was going to ask you the other day. See, when you go to a World Cup, right, and you want to follow a team, you don't know how far you're going to get. So how do you get the tickets later on?
Well, you can buy them off.
There?
You can buy them off the FIFA website.
Yeah, you would think they'd all be sold like quarterfinals, semi-finals.
Well,
you don't know.
Some people get rid of them on a ballot just because they know they're not going to be there, and that's it.
Well, the Moroccans have done well support-wise. They're really good at every game.
I don't your prediction.
France 2-0.
2-0. Okay. Neuer, Germany, goalkeeper, broke his leg.
Who did you play with?
Germany.
Right, no.
Bayern Munich.
So he's Bayern Munich, is it? Sorry. Right, I thought somebody had mentioned it was an English Premier League goalie, but that's just as sensational.
Yeah.
So what's the situation there? I don't know if you know the ins and outs. What happens now? He went on holiday. I mean, that can't be. His club can't allow that, surely. So
when we played, we weren't allowed to ski. Ski was one of the ones that weren't on the tick box.
Were you allowed to climb down a hotel if it was 2 floors up with a ladder?
As long as you had a ladder. There was somebody on it.
That says a happen for you. Brilliant. Okay, we've got the World Cup semi-finals. Give us your thoughts on that. We'd love to hear what you think is going to happen in the two matches. We will reflect on Argentina against Croatia tonight, and then obviously look ahead in greater detail to France against Morocco, and then just lap it all up ready for the final on Sunday at 3 o'clock. Really looking forward to that. Just as a little footnote to the World Cup and what's been happening, I read Joey Barton started savaging Gareth Southgate. Says he can't believe he hasn't left the job yet. We're rewarding failure. And also, I was reading the Daily Mail online. Jeff Powell, who's a very good journalist. I mean, I really, he served his time over the years. He says it's time for Gareth to go, and he put across quite a few points that I had made. I'd written a column yesterday on Southgate. I think when you look at what's out there, and you look at the team that he's got assembled and the respect he's got, I mean, what do they expect? Do England really expect to win the World Cup?
Well, Joey Barton did. He said they should have won the last 3 tournaments. That's one of the reasons why he went.
Well, that's an arrogance beyond that's expectation beyond the reality.
It is his arrogance, but I mean, I don't know if you can remember that when Hugh was on, Hugh had a view that he wasn't big enough. I know Hugh's is different for Joey Barton's, but Hugh had the thought that there is a bigger name out there, and the bigger name wins tournaments.
I just wonder.
Well, they've tried Ericsson, they've tried Capello. Who is it? Is it Pep Guardiola they want?
Or have they got the bigger pin-up, the absolute, maybe even a guy that some of the players in the current squad had posters of up in their bedroom, or they, somebody like that could get an extra wee 10% out of them, because what I looked at, it wouldn't have made pleasant reading for die-hard Tartan Army guys, but somebody had tweeted the other day what the ages of the England team will be at the next World Cup, and they were all still just young guys, it was all at 26, 24, 23, 25, 20, and you think, if they just come together, if they just gel, because they do have some smashing players in there, but maybe they just do need, I don't know, what do you think of the Jamie Carragher thing? He came out and he said, and then he was getting flamed for it, he was being accused of being racist and all, which was, I mean, Jamie Carragher and that spitting thing and the young lassie and all that, I can't have said I've ever jumped to his defence, but he wasn't being racist or xenophobic or anything. He just thought that the England team should have an England manager in there and have that real, even for in the dressing room or whatever, and I don't know if there's who would the candidate be right now? Well, if you to get a top English manager in there for the England team, what would the bookies suggest?
I don't think Jamie Carragher would have been racist on it, because you get a really good England manager who's black and completely understands England as well. If there is a candidate out there, Ruffy, that I'm thinking of, Eddie Howe, there's a fixation with Eddie Howe, but he's too young for the job. It's not his time to be an England manager. It's certainly not a Graham Potter either. I don't think there is can you think of an English manager that's worthy of taking...
It's going to leave a club job.
To take
anyone. It's hard to think of now when you look at the big clubs in England.
Yeah, I think the other thing about it, Sean Dyche is what Errol has just mentioned there, but I don't know. Sometimes I think England and their fans and the media as well have this kind of almost purist attitude that it should be somebody who plays the beautiful game the way it is. Some of them didn't like the fact that Sam Allardyce got it, because they thought, this is going to be a long ball game. Sean Dyche,
I'll chuck another name at you. Mike Bassett.
That was mentioned yesterday.
Was it?
Yeah, I remember that in the show.
Yeah, do you? Right. That's fantastic.
You know what? I was bemoaning the fact in the radio the weekend there that out of all the films that get repeated ad nauseum on the Sky channels or on Film 4 or ITV 2, 3 and 4, Mike Bassett, England manager, is an absolute gem, right? My favourite bit being when they slaughter Scotland, when they'll go to the World Cup, but Scotland get knocked out by Ethiopia, right? Which is exactly the sort of thing we do. But it is a magical movie, and I don't know where you can actually see it these days.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to get it. Gregor says Tuchel. His name's been mentioned, Gregor. It's a possibility. Hugh Scott says Peter. One of the names I'm seeing is Brendan Rodgers. I don't know. I think personally, with the squad that he's developing there, I think 4 years from now, if they can get 2 centre halves of some standing, Ruffy, and they develop the way they've got that brand at that batch at the moment.
Yeah, I think the people who answer that question are the players that are there. The players that are in the dressing room, the players that are listening, are they buying into everything he's saying? Are they buying into the way he wants to play? And they're the ones that should decide, if he stays or go. And I don't think there's many of them would say that they want rid of him.
Yeah, okay. Thanks to so many of you for giving us your opinion. Also, just one little footnote, Ruffy, I noticed that Europe's biggest clubs have rejected a proposal from FIFA for a 32-team FIFA World Club Cup in the summer of 2025. I think UEFA see this as a threat to the Champions
League. They're just
League.
trying to appease everybody now, aren't they? They're just trying to think of things to keep everybody quiet and keep...
No, I think there's a battle for power.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But
150 million in the kitty, though, might sway a few clubs.
Yeah, particularly
Real Madrid and Barcelona. Yeah, absolutely.
Enough tournaments, we've got enough football, and joy of joys, if you don't go to saturation coverage, that is why that even though we're still in the midst of a World Cup, we've got the semi-finals to look forward to. That's why we are, and we know we are, still slavering about the prospect of the top flight coming back in Scotland.
Yeah.
Don't absolutely kill it with too much football.
I think you're right. Saturation point, you're right. Can you name the person who was the first player to score an own goal in the World Cup?
No.
Tam?
I'll have a guess. Peter Shilton.
Peter Shilton. I can understand what you're thinking. It's maybe come back off him and gone at the net.
They'll blame Maradona.
It's Mario Mandzukic of Croatia in the 2018 World Cup final. In the defeat to France, it came off the top of his head, scored the own goal. 4-2, France won that one.
Did him to get that right?
No.
Without Googling?
No.
Right.
So, there you are. Still a chance for you to get involved in our Fandex World Cup competition.
You can still join PLZ Soccer on Fandex for our FIFA World Cup 2022 Stock Exchange game. You can play at any stage of the tournament for free, and you have the chance to win cash prizes. Buy shares in your favourite team and watch their stock price increase or decrease based on the real-life World Cup performances against the expected points tally set by Fandex. You can buy and sell as many teams as you like, as often as you like, with winners being announced after every round. The PLZ Soccer family are waiting for you on Fandex. Head to plzsoccer.com and click on Fandex World Cup 2022.
Wee bit of a football stocks and shares game. It's absolutely free to play, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. Thanks to Errol, who
we had him in Fandex. Saturday night it was only spandex he had eyes for, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Errol Campbell says Terry Butcher. I mean, Terry Butcher scored some belter own goals in his time, usually diving headers as well, Errol, but they were belters. Thank you to so many who've obviously offered your opinion on so many things. You can obviously offer your opinion to people who are on the feed, or indeed engage with our pundits here on a regular basis. To each and every one of you, we're delighted for so many of you who've hit the subscribe button. If you download the app, you get all the breaking stories, and there's so much unique content. As ever, as we say, 5 days a week. It's live, it's free, it's uncensored, unbiased and unmatched, and we're delighted we've got the likes of Tam here with us. We never thought we'd get him a couple of years ago, Ruffy. We just put the call out, and he just decided, want to hang about with my pals, because obviously he's got acquaintances at the BBC, but he wants to hang about with his mate.
I was on the Sun Lounger in Florida when I got the first text for you asking me.
Is that right?
Yeah, and I just finished up with the Scottish Sun before going back to the Record, and I thought, you know what, and YouTube, Facebook thing, podcast, and that could be another wee string to your bow. I'll give that a go.
I'm surprised it went to a third vote.
Yeah, well, we eventually got there, and then in the end, that you joining us and signing for us, as you say, some people are lucky enough to get five-year deals, but it's got you a car where you can go on your mobile phone now and just turn the heating on before you get into it.
Yeah, the company car that I got for PLZ, that was a lovely surprise, Peter. Thanks for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now you get the heating working, you don't need a jacket.
Yeah, good point, Ruffy. Good point. And with that, a bit of sense from Ruffy.
I've got Mick Lynch waiting for you. It's like,
join us if you can tomorrow. Thanks for watching.